On January 31st, 2013, 21-year-old student Elisa Lam was last seen getting into an elevator in the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. But 3 weeks later, her body was found in one of the hotel's rooftop water tanks. How did she get there? Was it foul play, suicide, or something else entirely? Let's get into it. Hi, I'm your host. This is another episode of our series. Today we are going to talk about the strange case of Elisa Lam and the Cecil Hotel. If you enjoy true crime documentaries and learning about terrifying cases like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Elisa Lam was born in Vancouver, British Columbia on April 30th, 1991. She was a cheerful and intelligent young woman who would have turned 22 just 2 months after she disappeared. At the time of her disappearance, Elisa was a second-year film student at the University of British Columbia. She was staying at the Cecil Hotel as part of her travels around the United States. But why did Elisa choose to stay at the Cecil Hotel? Well, it could be because it was relatively cheap. It cost $63 per night. Or it might have been because it was conveniently located close to the subway system and various tourist attractions. What she didn't know was that the hotel had a long and dark history of death and despair. Between 1924, when it opened, and 1998, more than 60 people had died at the hotel, including several well-known serial killers and Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker. On January 26, 2013, Elisa checked into the Cecil Hotel, which was going through a bit of a renovation at the time. She was staying in room 148 on the 14th floor, and her mother had paid for the first 3 nights of her stay. However, her mother grew concerned when Elisa failed to reply to any of her messages. So she called the hotel to check in on her daughter. According to the Daily Mail, a female friend of Elisa's answered the phone. She claimed that Elisa had gone out for the evening but would be back soon. So the mother let it go. After not hearing from her daughter for several days, she tried calling again on January 29th. This time, a man picked up and said he was the manager. He claimed he'd been trying to reach Elisa because there were several missed charges on her account. Her mom insisted that these must have been mistakes and asked that they not be billed to her credit card. Then the man told her that he was going to knock on the door of room 148 to see if Elisa was there. At around 8 p.m. that same evening, surveillance cameras captured Elisa entering the elevator of the Cecil Hotel alone. She got into the elevator on the ground floor and rode it to the second floor. There, she stepped out, walked down the hallway briefly before getting back into the elevator. She pressed the up button and then got back into the elevator when the doors opened. You can see her moving erratically and pushing all the buttons, starting from the top. She then slowly bends down as if looking for something. She looks up at the ceiling and then presses the elevator's intercom. She speaks into it, but we can't hear what she says. She then peeps out of the elevator, presumably to see if the coast is clear, and then quickly ducks back inside. She presses the elevator button for the second floor again and hides behind the elevator's barrier. Once the door opens on the second floor, she steps out and disappears from the camera view. We'll never know what happened next. And here's why. The next confirmed sighting of Elisa was nearly 3 weeks later on February. On February, guests began complaining about low water pressure and a strange smell coming from their taps. Maintenance workers went up to the roof to investigate. As the water tank was filled with murky brown water, they drained it and found Elisa's body at around 1:30 p.m. They immediately called the police. It was odd that her body was found in the water tank. According to the Daily Mail, there were no signs of forced entry and nothing appeared to be stolen. The only possible way to access the tank was via a ladder. It was unclear how someone could have climbed up to it without anyone noticing. As there were no witnesses, the police couldn't say exactly how she got there either. Elisa's family were devastated and confused. Her brother said she would never jump off a building. Her bipolar disorder made her impulsive, but she wouldn't do something so calculated. He believed someone had murdered her and placed her body in the water tank. But considering that there was no obvious reason for foul play and the lack of evidence, the police thought otherwise. They believed she had jumped into the tank accidentally or deliberately. A pathologist determined that she had been dead for about 2 weeks, but there was no way to tell what caused her death. She may have drowned, but there were no visible signs of this, nor was there any physical trauma suggesting that she had been murdered. The coroner eventually ruled her cause of death as undetermined and her manner of death as suicide. Her distraught family rejected these findings, saying she couldn't have meant to jump into the water tank as she was taking medication that stabilized her condition. So how did she end up in the water tank? Here's what we think happened. On January, Elisa left her room and got into the elevator to go to the rooftop. While she was alone in the elevator, she experienced a psychotic episode brought on by her bipolar disorder. In a manic state, she pushed all the buttons in the elevator as if trying to escape from somewhere. She hid behind the elevator doors because she heard footsteps approaching. When she exited the elevator on the 2nd floor, she walked down the hall and saw the ladder leading to the roof. She climbed up, slipped, and fell into the open water tank. There are other theories, though. Some people claim she was murdered by someone she met in the elevator. After all, the elevator is known to have malfunctions and sometimes goes to random floors. Others claim that the hotel staff killed her after she caught them doing illegal activities. Perhaps the most exciting theory is that she was taken by a ghost. Considering the hotel's dark history, this is a distinct possibility. One writer described the hotel as a vortex for all negative psychic energy. Serial killers, people who committed suicide, people who were murdered. All those negative vibrations have to go somewhere. It's all the energy the hotel has ever absorbed. Unfortunately, we may never know what really happened to Elisa. The case was officially closed in June 2013, but the Cecil Hotel is still full of mysteries. Just a year after Elisa's death, another guest was found dead in the same water tank. His name was Gareth Gores. He too had been missing for several days before his body was found, and once again there were no signs of foul play. If you want to learn more about the Cecil Hotel, I recommend watching a video on the history of the hotel and its infamous guests. Are you convinced that Elisa's death was a tragic accident? Do you think she was taken by a ghost? Or do you believe that she was the victim of foul play? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like. Thanks for watching.